I stopped financially supporting my brother's family after he told me, "There's no place for losers," which is also why I wasn't invited to Christmas. Now he's freaking out. I was actually looking forward to Christmas this year. I wasn't scrambling last minute like usual. I bought presents for my parents, my brother Jacob, his wife Kelly, and their kids before the first week of December, plus a few extra gifts in case of surprise guests. For some reason, I just had a good feeling about this holiday. So imagine my shock when my mom answered the door, saw me holding 2 bags of wrapped gifts, and said, "We don't want you here this year." At first I laughed, assuming it was a terrible joke, until Jacob's voice cut in from behind her. "There's no place for losers here. You're wearing everyone out." I just stared. My dad stood quietly in the background, glancing everywhere but at me. My mom didn't back down, but Jacob looked simply haughty. I felt humiliation, anger, and confusion surge through me, yet I stayed calm. "Fine, if that's how you feel," I said, nodded, and walked back to my car. Sitting in the driveway, staring at the gift bags in the passenger seat, I felt something shift. No place for losers? Fed up with me? Where did this even come from? I knew Jacob was behind it, but why? Over the years I'd been nothing but generous, paying for summer camp, school supplies, even his mortgage when he was struggling. And now I wasn't welcome at Christmas? Determined to find out, I returned to the house, gifts left in the car, and found my parents whispering, Jacob scrolling on his phone as if nothing happened. I didn't knock, I just walked in and asked, "What's going on? Why am I not welcome? What did I do?" Without looking up, Jacob grinned. "You really don't get it, lately you've been slacking. The kids barely got anything from you this year." I was stunned. "What are you talking about? I spent hundreds on their gifts. They've got more presents in the car than anyone else." He finally met my gaze. "Last year you did more. This year you don't even care. It's embarrassing for us." I glanced to my parents, expecting them to speak up, but instead my mom awkwardly added, "But you bought a new car. Somehow you found money for that." I blinked. "It's on credit," I replied evenly. "And if it wasn't, since when does buying a car make me responsible for your kids?" "They're not my responsibility." Leaning back on the couch, Jacob said, "You make the most money. We're family, families help each other. You've always helped." His wife Kelly sat off to the side, face flushed, looking down. I asked, "So because I've been generous in the past I'm obligated forever? And if I'm not, I'm a loser?" Jacob shrugged, "If the shoe fits." That was it. I shook my head, faced my parents, and said, "You know what? You're right. I don't belong here." Turning to Jacob, I added, "Enjoy your Christmas. Good luck with the gifts. This loser is done financing your life." Then I left. I gripped the steering wheel and drove home in silence, trying to process it all. Was I really the villain? I'd always had my brother's back, making sure his kids never went without. And now I was a loser because I didn't do enough? At home, I sat in the driveway staring at the last gift bag left in the van. I'd spent weeks picking out the perfect items for my parents and the kids. What a waste if they didn't want me there. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this went beyond Christmas. Jacob had relied on me since his marriage began, unstable jobs for him, only part-time work for Kelly, barely making ends meet. I'd offered help, just until they got on their feet, writing small checks for rent, childcare when their second kid arrived. But, a little while, stretched into years. Jacob called me first whenever things went south, and I always said yes because I cared about his children. Looking back, I saw that I'd created this dynamic. My willingness turned into his entitlement and my kindness was taken for granted. The final straw was getting shut out of Christmas for not doing enough. The next morning, clear-headed, I made a choice. No more helping Jacob, no more endless gifts to cover his inefficiency. If he wanted his kids to have what I'd bought, he'd have to figure it out himself. It wasn't easy. I knew I'd risk alienating my brother, my nieces and nephews, and even my parents. But I couldn't be treated like an ATM rather than family. I went silent, no calls, no texts. I imagined they'd get the message, but I also knew Jacob wouldn't let it go. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe, new stories every day. New Year's Eve passed in total silence. No messages, no calls, nothing. I'd never spent a holiday alone, and watching midnight strike without a single ping from family was strange. I did consider calling, but Jacob's sneer, "No place for losers," echoed in my mind. By mid-January, Kelly reached out with a brief text. "I'm sorry. I don't agree with what happened. Jacob won't listen to me, but I thought you should know." I sat with my phone in silence, relieved someone saw the injustice, but her apology felt too late. Finally, I replied, "I appreciate it, Kelly, but I can't just move on." She didn't push further. In early February, Jacob showed up at my door unannounced during a work meeting. He barged in. "We need to talk. Stop acting like this and start helping again." I laughed in disbelief. "Helping? You mean paying for your life? I already told you I'm done." He scowled. "You have the money. Things have been hard since you decided to act like this. The kids don't have what they need." I crossed my arms. "Listen to yourself. Grown man, wife, kids. If you need money, go earn it. It's not my job to fix your problems." He shot back, "You've always helped. Why be so selfish now?" "Selfish?" I snapped. "Let's talk about your selfishness. Lying to our parents, turning them against me, banning me from Christmas because I didn't spend enough. And now you want more? You've got some nerve." I cut him off. "No more dimes. Act like an adult or don't call me." He glared and left. I thought that'd be the last of it, but 2 days later my phone rang from an unknown number. "Michael? I'm Mark Dawson, a lawyer. My client is concerned about financial contributions you've made to your brother's family. Could you come to my office?" "An attorney?" My blood ran cold. Was Jacob misusing my name? Or trying to scare me into more money? I reluctantly agreed to meet. At his office, Mark slid a folder across the desk. "My client is Kelly. She believes Jacob has been diverting your money into a hidden account and spending it on gambling and personal expenses." He showed me bank statements, receipts, screenshots, transfers from me to Jacob, then into a second account, used for expensive restaurants, online casinos, even hotels. I couldn't believe it. "Does Kelly have proof?" I asked. Mark nodded. "She discovered the hidden account after finding statements Jacob left out. She didn't want to involve you, but with everything happening, she thought you should know." I felt betrayed. Every check I wrote, every bill I covered, had been pocketed by Jacob for himself. Angry, guilty, foolish. Mark explained Kelly wasn't seeking legal action now, just protection for herself and the children. If Jacob's behavior worsened, she might pursue separation. I left his office with an unexpected relief. For the first time in years I wasn't carrying Jacob's burden. Knowing the truth, I'd never let him control me again. I spent the next few days wrapping my head around it all. Jacob's gambling, the secret account, Kelly's plan, like a soap opera. Then Jacob called one evening before dinner. "We need to talk. You've been poisoning Kelly's mind, haven't you?" I laughed. "Me? You're the one who lied, hid money, gambled it away while I bent over backwards to help." He sputtered, but I cut him off and hung up, hands shaking but feeling cathartic. "You used me for the last time." The next day Kelly called. "Jacob reached out? How are you?" I told her I was okay. She apologized again for Christmas, and I offered my support. "Whatever you decide, I've got your back." Weeks later, I received a 3-word text. "We're moving today." Kelly was relocating herself and the kids out of state while Jacob was on a business trip. I called immediately. "I couldn't stay," she said quietly. When I asked about expenses, rent, etc., she hesitated, then asked, "Could you help just this once?" I said, "Of course." And for the first time, I felt truly helpful, not used. Jacob came home to an empty house, blew up at me for ruining his life. And I let him rant. "Maybe if you spent less time gaming and more time as a husband and dad, none of this would happen." I hung up with, "Good luck with that." Now the kids are settling into their new school. Kelly has stable work, and she's finally in control of her life. I've heard Jacob is still blaming everyone but himself, but honestly, that's his problem, not mine. If that counts as a happy ending, there it is. Update: the revelation and fallout. All along, Jacob had been deceiving me, using money I believed was for his family to pay for things that never benefited them. I wasn't sure whether to feel betrayed, angry, or foolish for not catching it sooner. My voice cracked as I asked Mark, "Does Kelly have proof? Can I see it?" He nodded and slid the folder closer. Inside were bank statements showing large withdrawals from Jacob's account, transfers into a second account in his name, and matching deposits from mine for the emergencies I had covered. I flipped through receipts for upscale restaurants, online gambling sites, and even hotel stays. Unbelievable. Kelly only just found the second account, Mark explained. She'd suspected something for a while but lacked access to his banking records until she stumbled upon those statements. That's when she reached out to me. I leaned back. Does she want me to do anything? Sue him? Mark shook his head. Not yet. She's focused on securing her and the children's safety but wanted you informed in case Jacob tries to manipulate you again. I laughed bitterly. He already did. Showed up at my house weeks ago demanding I start helping again. Mark frowned. That fits with what Kelly told me. He's under pressure now that your support has stopped. He may be deeper in trouble than she realizes. I looked at the folder, thoughts racing. Part of me wanted to confront Jacob, but I knew that would only fuel his arrogance. Instead I asked, what does Kelly plan to do? He paused. She's weighing her options, financially and legally. If Jacob's behavior escalates, she may file for separation or take other action. I felt a pang for Kelly, who I'd always seen as devoted and gentle. To know things were so bad that she was ready to leave him hit me hard. Angry at Jacob, sad for Kelly and the kids, guilty for my delayed awareness, I thanked Mark and left the office. Yet I felt an odd relief. After years carrying Jacob's burdens, I no longer would. In the following days, I kept my distance. No calls to my parents or Jacob. It seemed Jacob didn't like the quiet, because one evening, as I sat down to dinner, his name flashed on my phone. I hesitated, but answered. What do you want, Jacob? His voice was strained. We need to talk. You've been poisoning Kelly's mind, haven't you? I arched an eyebrow. Me? You're the one who lied to her, hid money, and gambled away what you claimed was for your family. He paused, then shouted, You don't know what you're talking about. I cut in, voice cold. Oh, I do. Kelly told me everything. The secret account, the gambling, the money wasted while I busted my ass to help you. You're a joke, Jacob. Before he could respond, I hung up, hands shaking but feeling cathartic. You used me for the last time. The next day, Kelly called gently. Has Jacob contacted you? Yes, I answered. He's upset. I confronted him about the gambling and hidden account, she said after a moment. He admitted some, but still downplays it. Are you okay? I'm fine, I lied. It hurt hearing her defend him. The kids deserve better, she sighed. Thank you for everything. This isn't your battle alone. We spoke until I felt a strange sense of closure. Jacob had destroyed our relationship, but Kelly and those kids weren't my enemies. Weeks later, a 3-word text from Kelly. We're moving today. She'd packed up and left for another state while Jacob was away, taking the children and their lives into her own hands. I called immediately. I couldn't stay, she whispered. When I asked about expenses, rent and bills, she hesitated, then asked, Could you help just this once? Of course, I said. This time, helping felt right, not like being used. When Jacob returned to an empty house, he exploded at me over the phone. I let him rant, then said, maybe if you spent less time gambling and more time parenting, none of this would have happened. I hung up with, good luck with that. Now the kids are settling into their new school. Kelly has stable work, and she's finally in control of her life. Jacob continues to blame everyone but himself, but that's his problem, not mine.